I dropped out of college to buy my first $1 million business. If we haven't met yet, I'm Liam, and I get asked this question all the time. How do you finance a business acquisition when you don't already have a lot of money? First off, you gotta break that belief system straight away because you don't need a lot of money to do this. So I'll run you through a few examples of how you can structure deals. The first one being your main ticket, which is seller financing. There's a few different ways you can convince a seller to agree to seller financing terms. One being that if they agree to a portion of seller financing, they can actually reduce the amount of capital gains tax they're gonna pay on the sale of their business. And if you get a seller that agrees to something like this, that also shows confidence in the business that they've built, meaning that when you take it over, they're still confident that you'll be able to repay them. So if you use seller financing and you go to a traditional lender for the remaining portion, that loan size gets reduced. So therefore your down payment obligation is much less. And depending on what business you're buying, oftentimes they have quite a bit of equipment already in the business that's worth quite a bit of money. You can actually go ahead and get loans on these pieces of equipment that can contribute to the payment for the business. And lastly, one of my personal favorites that I just recently learned is that POS system companies actually offer financing as well. And you could go ahead and get a loan on the business's existing POS system, meaning based on the revenue that business does currently, the POS company will actually go ahead and offer you a significant amount of money based on that revenue. So it's actually pretty cool. You could go ahead and get a loan with the business you're trying to buy the business, which is just mind-blowing. Let me know if you want me to explain that strategy more in depth, because it's definitely a little complicated to wrap your head around in the beginning. You can also find private investors to be able to give you money so that you can buy a business. But in the beginning, I found it was actually pretty difficult because I had no real proof of concept. I had never done it before. So why should anyone trust me with their money, their hard-earned money, to go ahead and buy my first business? I realized pretty quickly that I've got to do this once or twice before I can actually convince anyone to trust me. All of these creative leverage strategies can really help you out in terms of needing less capital up front to actually get the deal across the finish line. So these are just some strategies I've found so far when you're trying to do your first business acquisition. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to follow.